I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm really not.
Oh, you just do it instinctively? Is that what it is? I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm just a natural. You know what I mean? I just show up and the game comes to me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hi, welcome to Racist of the Week. I am Reese Waters. This is where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can throw them in the comments or you can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Today's nominee, Nick Fuentes. Now, who nominated Nick Fuentes? Jason Whitlock. We don't take nominations from Jason Whitlock. Well, what'd he say?
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views.
That's why I was nominated. Did he say anything else? I want to see what else he got to say. He was making some good points.
That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
So he's talking about the value of having a black face on the worst impulses in the dark recesses of white people's brain, having a black face to put on. And I don't know about everybody knows it, but I certainly do.
Everybody knows, and everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine.
No, I would doubt that. I would definitely doubt that. In fact, you just explained why you should doubt that, because they have had it easy. What was it that Don Lemon said? The shortest line to the front? Yeah, the exact same thing that you're mad about is the exact same thing that we're mad about. Let's both agree to not pretend that he's genuine.
But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer.
Wait a minute. This is what I love about this, right? This is what I love about this. Keep in mind, he's not defending the things that Jason Whitlock is saying. He's openly ceding how wrong and offensive the things that he's saying are, but just saying you get away with it because you're a black. He's not even defending what you're saying.
You would have been fired like every other white person. Everybody knows that. Take a good look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility.
Turn it off? Hell no! Put it back on!
And if you can't see that, then you're just as ignorant as BLM. If you can't see that, if you can't be honest with yourself about that, you're just as ignorant as the marchers. As a matter of fact, you are as ignorant as the marchers. Just another ignorant crybaby.
Now, I wonder why BLM and the marchers are ignorant. I wonder what's the through line between BLM and the marchers and Jason Whitlock. I wonder why he would just paint them all as ignorant with a broad brush. And yes, Jason Whitlock, he messed around and said the quiet part out loud and told you what he really thinks. We tried to tell you.
And you know what? I have no hatred. I really don't. I'm a little bit frustrated with the fact that people are going to challenge my credibility based on what I say, knowing what I've sacrificed, what has happened to me, what has happened to my family. And I'm not trying to play the world's smallest violin, but my sacrifice has been considerable. I have had a considerably more difficult go than almost anybody because I was willing to tell the truth before it's fashionable about Israel, about race, about globalization, about a wide variety of subjects.
You forgot women's bodies, man. When you told the truth about women's, yeah, you forgot about that one too. And they definitely checked you on that one. They definitely checked you. I wouldn't necessarily say you had a rough go of it. I would say that your mouth wrote checks that your heart couldn't cash. That's what I would say.
It's totally outrageous. I have no hatred in my heart for people. I have no hatred in my heart for anybody, for that matter.
I know about 51% of the population, at least, that would disagree with that just on the women's bodies comment. But that's before we get to, black people. So, yeah, take that one. Go ahead and strike that. You was cooking before that, though.
And not for a group based on their race. And I have friends from all different races. It's not hatred. We can't play that card all the time and bitch about racism every single time.
Can I get a show? Nick Fuentes' black friend? I know, because I need to see this. Who Nick Fuentes' black friend? Sit down, Candace.
With that being said, and it's important to clarify that because you don't want to be typecast as the angry white man that's trying to gin up. I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm really not.
Oh, you just do it instinctively? Is that what it is? I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm just a natural. You know what I mean? I just show up and the game comes to me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I just let the game come to me. I let the racism flow.
I'm trying to tell you how white people feel, and I'm trying to tell you the truth. And here's the truth of the matter. White people are just done. We're done with the excuses. We're done with the white guilt. We are done with crybaby, ethnic narcissist black people that cannot handle an adult conversation about race. We're done.
See what I mean? I came in, I started talking for a couple minutes, and then, you know what I mean? The ethnic resentment, it just flows. It just comes to me, you know what I mean? I don't land on ethnic resentment. Ethnic resentment lands on me. As far as you are concerned, Jason Whitlock, that was the most savage beating you've taken since Stephen A. Smith.
Did you tell them that once this same article in Deadspin came out, weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me? Did you tell the folks that, you bitch? Did you tell them? You fat piece of shit. Did you tell them that? Got the names. We got Jamel Hill. We got Howard Bryant. You want me to bring up the other writers that wouldn't work for you? Why it took you nearly 2 years to get an article out? Because you ran that shit so bad you were running it into the ground?
Actually, no. That was the worst they've done you since LeVar Ball.
And going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.
Now,
wow,
that's a little harsh.
In fact, I think this might have trumped LeVar Ball and Stephen A. Smith for me. I think this was the worst beating that you've taken. If we're scoring at home, he just told you your only worth was to parrot the darkest talking points in the recesses of white people's brain that even they don't feel comfortable saying out loud for fear of retribution. That's what he just told you. He just told you that your entire career and success is credited to your ability to say the things that they can't for fear of retribution, and didn't even defend said things. He called you a grifter and a clown. He said your foolishness to say the things that they want to say but can't are not only the reasons why you're successful, but they also are the only reasons why you're useful. And the second that you try and exhibit any level of integrity, your usefulness will be gone. That's what he just said to you. And by the way, what we have just seen is the way that Pick Me ends. That's the way that Pick Me ends. And certainly, Jason Whitlock, you aren't the only one that this applies to. Far be it. I hope the Black Magas were paying attention. Now, as far as this application for Racist of the Week, I feel reflexively like I should reject it, but let me look at the evidence. What have you? Can you dispute anything that he said?
Will anybody in the sports media world talk about this? Will any of the Cowboys treat Austin Metcalf the way the Cowboys treated George Floyd, taking a knee all over the place? What's more of a tragedy? George Floyd overdosing on fentanyl under the knee of Derek Chauvin, or this 17-year-old boy, honor roll student, devout Christian, stabbed in the heart at a track meet?
It's not looking good, Jason. It's not looking good. That's literally exactly what he was talking about. That is exactly what he was talking about. And let me find out you out here commenting under people's posts to that effect. Over 130,000 likes on this insanely racist tweet by Matt Walsh. And of course, Jason Whitlock expresses gratitude. Now let's see what this insanely racist tweet said. If I told you that a young man stabbed another young man to death for telling him that he was in the wrong seat, and then I told you that one young man in this altercation was white and the other black, and then I asked you to guess the race of the assailant, every single person would know the answer immediately. Young black males are violent to a wildly, outrageously disproportionate degree. That's just a fact. We all know it, and it's time that we speak honestly about it, or nothing will ever change, to which Jason Whitlock says thank you. Now, to your point, Matt Walsh, you say young black males are violent to a wildly, outrageously disproportionate degree. Because they're black, right? Because they're black. That's the only descriptor that you gave. Young black males are violent to a wildly disproportionate. It's because they're black. That's the only thing that you have given me. Now, granted, I wasn't particularly violent at that age, and none of the other brothers at the prep school I was at were particularly violent at that age. And I remember the last time that I was up in Connecticut, I didn't see a whole lot of brothers, while I was walking around Stanford. I didn't see a whole lot of brothers. Shout out to you, Candace. Yeah, I know. They weren't particularly violent at that particular age. I look at like the Jack and Jill and stuff like that. They're not particularly violent. I don't know if race is the singular descriptor, but you were effective in putting out what you wanted. You didn't say they're violent because they're black, but you said they're violent because they're black. And something that black and white when it comes to race and what you are articulating when it comes to race. We can have a whole long conversation about the ins and outs of this, the fact that you want to make it so oversimplistic and remove all other factors from the scenario. I could do a whole video about that. I don't need to do it right now. You know exactly what you did. And Jason Whitlock knows exactly what you did. That's why he said thank you to double down on a dude saying they're violent because they're black. I don't know what you want me to do, Jason Whitlock. Honestly, I really, what do you want me to do? You went there and said thank you to the dude who said they're violent because they're black.
And Louis Farrakhan, like Nick Fuentes, and like ministers, black ministers all over America, knows if I really want to attract a following, the way to attract a following in the world is to lean into racial idolatry. And so you mix some truth with racial idolatry, you get a big audience. You get a big following. You can build you the Fruit of Islam and a security force. You can build you a Groypers movement. And they will go out and spam and harass whoever you point them at. And so I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly who I'm upsetting, and I know exactly what they're going to do because they're a part of a cult that thinks they're following God and they're actually following an asset.
So they think they're following God, but they're actually following an asset. Idolatry. You mean something like this golden calf they got of Trump? You mean something like that? Something like what they got going on down in Mar-a-Lago? You mean like that? Think they're following God, but they're following, what was it, an asset? Something like that? Is that what it is? Now, as far as your whole thing about, racial idolatry, like the kind of a man who will come out and defend white people no matter what and find a way to be anti-black, kind of like you just did, where you said thank you to the guy who said they're violent because they're black. The kind of man who could watch the national championship and use DEI to explain a call against Cooper flag. Yes, you did that. Yes, you most certainly did. Here's the intended consequence of diversity, equity, inclusion. Typical bad call by a ref. I see it. Chalk it up to bad officiating. Because of DEI and constant race focus, I see it and wonder about the black ref who made the bogus call on the white kid. Yeah, I would say racial idolatry. I would definitely say racial idolatry on that. And let's see, what was your last post? What was the last thing that you posted? Hung out with the guys who wrote "Try That in a Small Town" last night. You would have. I remember that song. I remember exactly how coded it was. That definitely seems like a you thing to do. You are nothing if not consistent in your caping for white culture and white supremacy.
Black pride is good and Black Lives Matters is good. It's just when people take it out of context. No, you're promoting idolatry. A religion, a racial idolatry, a religion based on skin color. And that skin color religion, black culture, trains kids up to adopt every materialistic, hedonistic, violent behavior possible. You're part of the problem and you don't want to admit it. And you want to point your finger at Matt Walsh and say, no, he's the problem. Matt Walsh is not going to kill one black kid.
And you know what? Neither am I, or anybody else in my friend group. I think that we're pretty safe. Now, we can have some conversations about black culture, but what we're not going to do is make it independent of the context of white culture and American culture. So we want to pretend like y'all weren't out here caping for mafia movies? Is that what we going to do? Y'all weren't obsessed with Bonnie and Clyde and the bank robber phenomenon. Before that was moonshiners. And what are we doing now? It's white collar criminals, ain't it? Ain't it the white collar criminals? In fact, I think we got a felon in the White House right now. Why don't we talk about that? Huh. And the crazy thing is, I am hoping that this message really gets out to the Black Magas. I'm hoping the Black Magas realize just how limited their usefulness is to the white power structure. I'm hoping you can talk to them. Because I know we got to have another meeting. We got to have another meeting because there was too many people because Jason Whitlock, you wasn't there at the last meeting. I see CJ Pearson, you wasn't here at the last meeting either. I don't know where you been.
Yo, I'm going to have to pop off for a little bit. The tribalism in the black community needs to end. It needs to end. Point blank period, it needs to end. The same people who tried to make George Floyd a hero, who built statues of the man and compared him to MLK.
That's true. That is true. Because I just went down Mount Nebo and they had George Floyd right behind the pulpit. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. I've seen.
Are now trying to make 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, who stabbed to death an innocent young boy, simply because he touched his backpack, a victim. Someone who committed cold-blooded murder, a victim. A victim of circumstance, a victim of retaliation, whatever. I don't care. There is no world in which Carmelo Anthony is a victim.
Now, as far as that particular case is concerned, I have not weighed in on that. And one of the main reasons I haven't weighed in on that is one of the things that one of the focuses that I like to keep clear on this particular channel is race-based things. And so if there isn't an explicit racial angle to what happened, there's certainly a racial angle to the response. And I guess in that way, it would qualify for something for me to discuss. But unless you can tell me that there was an explicit racial angle, then I'm going to wait and let this adjudicate itself. Now, there are a number of cases where there is an inherent racial angle, like when you parade around girls that happen to be victimized by migrants when we know the litany of black and brown girls who disappear and get no such coverage. Things like that. Things like when people die at the hands of law enforcement, and we have seen a litany of examples of discriminatory practices from all across the nation. Things like that. Speaking of George Floyd. Next!
We need to divorce ourselves from this false notion that just because someone looks like us, we need to defend everything that they do.
I don't defend y'all. No, I do not defend y'all. I don't understand how this is a conservative talking point when we do not defend y'all at all. I don't. How does your own loneliness not disprove your premise? I tell you what the problem with these ladies today. They won't leave a caramel-colored brother with glasses and bad feet alone. They just won't do it.
That's how we end up defending people like R. Kelly.
I ain't defend R. Kelly. I did not defend R. Kelly. Not once.
That's how we end up defending people like O.J. Simpson.
Nope. Nope. Try again.
That's how we end up defending people like Bill Cosby.
Play the video.
It's wrong. I don't care what you look like, if you're blue, green, yellow, orange, white, orange, or turquoise. If you do wrong, I'm going to call balls and strikes. Wrong is wrong. And what Carmelo Anthony did was point blank wrong. Murder is wrong. This should not be profound. It is simply common sense. Or at least I thought it was. And so to all these black social justice warriors online saying that we need to hear the other side, here is the primary fact that we're dealing with. A young boy is dead over a backpack because a kid who didn't know how to control himself because of the conditions around which he was raised. And that is a travesty. But that doesn't make him a victim.
Okay, well, then just let C.J. Pearson adjudicate everything. Then, you know what I mean? Just we don't need it. We don't need no due process. We don't need to hear the other side. Just let C.J. Pearson. You got it, right? You got it. Whatever you think, based on that very narrow wind tunnel of information that you subscribe to. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just go ahead. It'll work out great. Just trust me. As far as you consider, Jason Whitlock, we're not going to be able to do the Racist of the Week nomination. Now, we're not going to be. First of all, we haven't taken any submissions from you since the Caitlin Clark debacle. Okay, ever since you were out here twerking for Caitlin, no, we don't take any submissions from you. Number one. Number two, he ain't say nothing wrong. He ain't say nothing wrong. What did Don Lemon say? Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts. You know, it's better now. Better that you find out now. It's better that you find out now. But you know what? I don't want you to leave empty-handed. You know what I mean? Because I know it took a lot for you to get up out of your chair and walk down here. I don't want you to leave empty-handed. We got a little something for you on the way out. This was not my doing, by the way. I would have. I cannot take credit for this, but we will let you leave with something.
You've achieved award winner status for cooning. You are the standard, so you win the cooning. You've achieved award winner status for cooning. You are the standard, so you win the cooning.
Actually, this came from Nick Fuentes, if I'm being honest. This came from Nick Fuentes. He wanted you to take a little something home with you. Just so you always remember this moment. Thank you for supporting the channel. It is a new season, and with the new season comes new things. And I'm very excited to announce I'll be bringing guests on to my 8 p.m. live starting this very week.
No, never thought leopards would eat my face. Slow it down now.
You guys have sent me in a lot of suggestions for people you would love for me to have a conversation with, people in this particular space, people in the politics space, comedians, commentators, anybody who you would love to see exchange ideas right here on this platform. Go ahead and send in your suggestions. That also applies to my Way of Waters channel as well. I'll be bringing guests over there. So if there's people in the mindfulness space or in the consciousness space you would love to see me talk to, go ahead and send in your suggestions. And don't worry, we'll still have our private chats. Of course, I'm going to open up my lives with a rant like I always do.
I'm definitely not a political chair, but I think I'm adjacent. You know what I mean? I think I'm adjacent. I would say, you know, I'm around the corner. I'm not too far. You know, I'm around the corner. Unless I don't know if they got some redlining going. Maybe they got some redlining going on in politics streets, and now I'm on the other side.
And we'll also have the members' lives as well, just when we need to talk offline. So those will be regular. And if you would like to join the channel, there's a link to membership in the description box of all the videos. I want to give a shout out to Obajuru, who's a supporter of the channel, who sent me this as a gift, and I absolutely love it. We're definitely going to find a use for that. And Kit and the Misfit Toys, who sent me this for my Way of Waters channel. You guys are truly, truly the best. And I just hope that I can rise to a level that is deserving of this level of support. Thank you.